Hi, Tim Roye for Warriors TV and Warriors.com, here with Rusty Simmons of the San Francisco Chronicle, the beat writer who covers the Warriors day in and day out. And we're done with day one, the first day of practice. You know, it's always an exciting time, you know, in training camp. People are fired up and getting ready for the season. But for this season for the Warriors, there seems to be some genuine optimism.
Absolutely. It's kind of funny as a beat writer. When the schedule comes out, you look at the holidays. Where am I going to be for Christmas and New Year's? And this is the first year where I've looked at where I'm going to be in April, because we're actually still going to be traveling with the team. They should be playing some meaningful games. So it certainly is exciting.
Tell me what you think about the depth of this team and the fact that it seems they have an NBA quality backup at every position.
And you could almost say three. It seems like at every position there are three guys. That helps you in practice because there's going to be guys competing for minutes, and it helps you in every year, especially in an 82-game season, there's going to be injuries. If anybody knows that, it's Warriors fans. So I think that's one thing that sets this team apart from the past rosters is there is depth. There are players at every position.
If healthy, what impact do you see Andrew Bogut having on this team?
Well, I think that's probably the most important one. I think everybody's looking at Bogut's ankle and Steph's ankle. And when you look at Curry, you've got Jack and you've got Jenkins behind him. With Bogut's ankle, you've got an unproven rookie in Festus Ezeli, who's played for, basketball for only 6 years, and then Andres Biedrins, who we really aren't sure what we're going to get from. So I think Bogut's probably the most important, and he's an interesting guy. He gives you an anchor to your defense right away. On offense, everybody says he's one of the best passing big men in the league, so maybe he's a hub and initiator for the offense, and with all the shooters they have, I think he can make a real impact there.
Yeah, I like when he was asked about the playoffs today, he says, we got work to do. We have stuff to do. So now in camp, who are players that you're looking at this training camp?
It's interesting this year because in the past it's always been there are a couple guys off the radar who might make a team. You think of Chris Wright last year and guys who didn't make it, Vernon Goodrich in the past, but there are always guys interesting that could have a chance. This year they've got 15 guys and they're all going to make the roster, so then there's 5 more who really don't have much of a chance. But I really like Kent Bazemore in the Summer League. If this team really is trying to change the culture to a defensive team, that's a defensive first guy. I'm interested in seeing him play, and all the rookies. You get excited about them every year. You see what they did in college and you want to see how that translates. So Harrison Barnes is really interesting to me.
Let's be honest, you're always looking for the guys who are good interviews.
Absolutely. And that's the one thing that helps us. Who cares how they play? They got 3 guys who are great interviews in the draft this year.
When I first started in the NBA, some guys were still using some typewriters and been phoning in some copy. What changes now for you with all the new technology, all the social media? How has that changed your job?
The immediacy has become so much more important. The social media and being first on Twitter, even if it's for 5 seconds. And I think there's a good thing to that I think the readers, the fans get the information quicker. The negative side of that is I don't know that it's as accurate as it used to be. It's kind of you want to be first more than being right. And so that's one thing that scares me about it a little bit. And it's more work between the blogs and the tweeting and all this stuff you do. It's almost like the newspaper. The writing has become tertiary to those other things.
Yeah, it's weird. You start your day now by opening Twitter as opposed to reading a newspaper.
Right. It's exactly right. And you go around, you're looking at all these blogs and what happened overnight instead of opening the sporting green.
Okay. Talking with Rusty Simmons here on Warriors TV. I'm Tim Roye. Day one of training camp is completed. I guess as we start to wrap this up, why did you get into journalism?
Because I wasn't very good at sports, playing them. I think that's a lot of our stories is, you know, you love the games and you want to be a part of them, and then you realize that you're 6 foot and 160 pounds and you can't compete at anything. And so then you want to stay around it and you learn to write about it.
And you're writing about the Warriors the last few years, and you look at this team right now, and the West is very tough. You know, the Clippers got better, the Lakers got better, the Spurs are the Spurs, the Thunder are the Thunder, don't forget the Grizzlies. But after that, I think that's where this team has a chance to fit in.
Yeah, I think that's a lot of what people are saying right now is there are obviously the teams of the cream of the crop at the top, but they're from 6 to 8. I think there are some real openings. And I think it's realistic for this team to come in with the approach that we're going for the 6th seed, or maybe even start out and say we're going for home court advantage, but try to get into the playoffs. And I don't think it would be a disaster of a season if they finish 10th either, because the Western Conference, as much as we say that the good teams are at the top, it's deep. There are 10, 12 good teams in the conference.
Rusty, always a pleasure. Continued success, and you do a nice job.
Sure, anytime.
I'm Tim Roye for Warriors TV.